Welcome to Birth at Work, the podcast where we dive into the real, unfiltered stories of what it's actually like to navigate pregnancy, birth, and early parenthood while building a career. I'm your host, Kristlyn Powell. Each episode, we sit down with working parents who share their honest experiences, the victories, the setbacks, the moments of doubt, and the strategies that actually work. Because let's be honest, most workplace policies weren't designed with pregnancy and new parenthood in mind. And it's time we talked about what that really means for the millions of us trying to grow families while growing our careers. Welcome to season 2. I'm Kristlyn Powell, and I'm your host for Birth at Work. I'm so happy to be coming to you live of sorts from the other side of having my second baby. I had my baby last August and actually launched the Birth at Work podcast the morning that I went into labor. So the same day that I gave birth to my son, this podcast launched. And what an amazing experience that was, honestly. I truly cannot tell you the love and support and just honestly like gratitude and stillness and intention that went into creating this show. And it was received with so much abundance and kindness. And it was amazing to take the time that I needed. So I pre-scheduled that show. We filmed it while I was pregnant. We pre-scheduled the episodes and just kind of had them roll out during my postpartum. What an incredible healing journey that was for me. I just want to share a little bit about my why, about why I did what I did for this past birth, about how that has shaped this season of the podcast, and just honestly, like specifically about what you're going to be seeing and hearing about during this season. I think it's really important to share the behind the scenes. And with this show, my intent and goal for it was to have open and honest conversations about what it's really like to be a working parent, what it's like to birth children, and to take the right time and space that you need for postpartum, and to have people in your corner to back you, and also to be able to navigate early parenthood. What an incredible journey. I'm loving it. I'm just so grateful for all of the conversations of season 1, and I intentionally pressed pause on responding to messages and guest spots for season 2 because I wanted to zone in on my baby and bond with my family and have the postpartum that I'd never had before on my time and my terms. And it was glorious. Honestly, I had all of the rest and support that I needed. And support, being a big word. Like, I was able to fully disconnect and not worry about checking in to any sort of work related item, and also not worry about coming back to a job, also not worry about, bouncing back physically or mentally, or worrying about who is going to watch my baby. We were able to do exactly what we wanted as a family. And I recognize that that's a privilege, one that I worked really hard for over the past decade. And to be able to have such a night and day difference of what it was like coming back, just after 6 weeks of short-term disability with my second pregnancy and first birth, my first being the miscarriage, it has just been wildly different. So I can tell you with every ounce of my being that this is the way it should be, at least for me. I know everyone's different, but I had a virtually painless birth. I would say it was really enjoyable for the majority of it until right before he entered this world, and I was able to channel the pain, and I really truly felt like in that moment I was birthing the way that I had lived, and I have really zoned in on how I want my life to look, and that really emanated in the birth experience, which is incredible. So much that I decided to career pivot. So this is going to be my life's work moving forward. I'm going to support mothers and babies and working parents, and I'm going to continue this conversation in this podcast. I told my husband I would take a minimum of 6 months leave before I would do any kind of work, but I actually joined a working moms community, the Society of Working Moms. A friend commented on a LinkedIn post a few months before I had my son, and I had announced that I was downshifting from corporate. Seemed right considering, all of the just, I feel like, inhumane layoffs that are happening right now for so many people. And also the way that things were changing, it was time for me to move in the direction of my own and support in a way that I could use my skills to support and also allow my husband's career to flourish as well and be with my babies on my time and my terms. So that was really beautiful. But I joined this community and then been in it for about 7 months now. And it's been incredible connecting with so many amazing women. And I have learned how to build my business. I have learned how to hold space for women of all different phases of their lives. I have had amazing coaching conversations and been a part of special cohorts with pregnant and postpartum women, which was really, really cool and just really intimate and amazing. I've made friends and that's just so incredible. And because of that, I've had an outpouring on LinkedIn as well and been able to connect with so many other amazing women and invite them into the community. And all this to say, I just continue to have this itch. I was like, what I'm doing now really doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like something that I have to clock in and clock out of. Although I do have a special schedule with a sitter so that I can have my own time. Our 4-year-old is in preschool and we have a sitter come um, at a specified time each week. And that allows me to get through my work and my passion projects and what I'm doing. And it's really, really fulfilling. I am very deeply grateful for this opportunity and for being willing to speak my truth and for having a husband who supports me in everything that I'm doing as well. And I think that's just really beautiful at the root of it is like having that partner who has your back and I have his. And, so much has changed and evolved over the past year. Like a year ago, quite literally a year ago today, I was sitting in my office preparing to tell my manager that I was pregnant and worrying with every ounce of truth that I knew um, would come true, honestly, that that person would not be supportive of me working after having my second baby. And that all happened. But that is also okay because rejection is redirection and it's an opportunity to lean into what you're really meant to do. Let's talk a little bit about what you'll hear about on season 2. You're going to learn a little bit about my postpartum journey. So I know this is kind of an introduction and overview and me just openly sharing where I'm at. So I'm 5 months postpartum right now. And you're going to hear about also my birth experience and what I did differently because my business now is I am communicating what it's like to career pivot and follow your own intuition, and also what it's like to have and facilitate work experiences for working parents that are conducive and supportive to what they need to be successful. And also for working moms, mothers, to be able to have the birth experience they truly desire an enjoyable, intimate, intentional, comfortable, calm experience, free from the stresses of work. Whether you have a job or you don't, whether you're working for yourself or you're working for a company, whether it's nonprofit or corporate, whatever situation you may be in, how to birth the way that you live, but separate the stress from your work or life in order to fully tap into the birth experience that you want. So I'm doing that in a variety of ways. I am hosting this podcast. I am writing about what my experience has been like in this career pivot on Substack over at Beautiful Birth. So not only am I going through a beautiful birth of my career, but I had a beautiful birth experience with my son and our wonderful family. And I'm writing about that. So join me over there if you are not already. And I'll also still be on LinkedIn. So connect with me if you're not already. And then hosting and facilitating these conversations, which is just a joy. We're actually bringing on Working Dads this season 2, which I am really thrilled about. And those men are a safe space and a support for mothers as well as fathers. And it's really cool. They're founders and they get it. And I'm so excited to share those conversations with you. And then we're also going to bring on other women founders who have, like me, decided to step away from corporate and chart a path of their own and build a business that helps other mothers and facilitates environments for working parents that make it safe and supportive. So thrilled about that. And then, of course, more stories from working parents to share what it's really like, what they're doing, where they're finding support, the highs and the lows, because that's why we're here. We're here to have this conversation. We're here to connect with each other. I know that the world can seem like a scary, foreboding place at times. And there's so much of what it seems of late, like inhumanity happening. But I think that this is our way to push back on that. I think the only way to do things right is with love and with care and with respect and conversation and community. And I personally have learned that this is a season for me to slow down, to downshift, to be comfortable in the stillness, because it's been, 12 plus years of me grinding and running and pushing and fighting and, being the competitive one that gets everything done and being the happy-go-lucky one that's always bubbly and is always smiling and always says yes and leading and being strong. And that is all well and good. But there's also beauty in mothering and nurturing and caring. And I have worked so many years in community and just truly know that this work matters. And I'm going to keep the conversation going. I'm going to continue to carry the torch. And I invite you along the way with me. If you have a story that you are deeply feeling called to share, I would encourage you to reach out. If you know someone that needs to share their story, please reach out. If you hear an episode and it resonates with you, please send it to a friend. If you are looking to make changes in your work environment, I'd love to have a conversation. It starts here in the conversations, in the community, in the kindness, in the care and compassion and love. And I truly, deeply in my bones feel that every woman can experience, and every working mom, every working dad, but I'm specifically talking to the mothers here because this has been my experience. But every mother is entitled to a peaceful, calm, and supportive pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. And they're also entitled to the ability and the opportunity to be a mom and to have a career. It's just, it's 2026. Like, we can do both, and we have been doing both for a long time. Moms wear multiple hats and work many full-time jobs in so many different ways, shapes, and forms. Breastfeeding is a full-time job. Caring for kids is a full-time job. Caring for pets is a full-time job. Supporting your partner is a full-time job. And then managing your career on top of all of that. The cooking, the cleaning, the chauffeuring, that's that invisible labor that needs to be shared and talked about. And workplaces need to have an understanding of how to do that, of how to show up. And it's truly high time we stop pretending like humans don't have lives outside of their work. We are both. We can do both. We should be both. That's what makes the work better. So if you're still with me, thank you for being here. I'm really just thrilled and wanted to take this time to have this episode be an invitation to you to tune in to this season for whatever you need. Take what you need, leave the rest, share, support your communities here. And we are so happy to have you a part of the conversation. If there's any way that I can help you, any way, shape, or form, please reach out. Thank you. That's a wrap on today's episode of Birth at Work. If our topic resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Connect with me on social or via email. Your experiences and questions help shape future episodes. Remember, you're not alone in this journey of balancing career and family. Every challenge you're facing, someone else has navigated too, and every victory you celebrate, big or small, deserves to be recognized. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. It helps other working parents find these conversations when they need them the most. And if you know someone who could benefit from hearing these stories, please share this episode with them. Until next time, remember, you don't have to choose between your career dreams and your family dreams. You're already proving that every day. Thanks for listening to Birth at Work. I'm Chrislyn Powell, and I'll see you next time.